Good morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Now, I was noticing a few minutes ago, we might get to see the sunrise this morning. See how it goes. Not going to come up yet for a while. All right, today, well, first of all, there's no rollback. So today's episode is probably going to be a little on the shorter side. They've been pretty long lately. I like to keep them around 15, 20 minutes. I find that, well, now this is my own personal experience, but I find that for me, if I'm watching somebody who's doing something like what I'm doing here, I can only handle about 10 minutes or so. And then my mind starts to wander and I start thinking about my own little projects, and I got to admit, I sometimes start fast forwarding through, and I think a lot of people probably do that with my updates too, and or uploads. So yeah, I try to keep it a little bit shorter. They've been, I think, in my opinion, too long. But you don't need to comment on that. It's, because it is what it is. Some days I find that. I am really surprised when I go to do the final edit just how terrible long the episode has been. Okay, now we are going to have to paint today. We are in step 16 now. And if you remember that part, what did I do with it? I put it over here on the clock for safekeeping. It was so safe I forgot where I put it. Okay, now I had accidentally painted the top black, the same as the inside of the outside hull. I thought at the time it seemed like a good idea, but I'm realizing now that maybe it's not, because some of these other pieces that we're going to be putting on there are not going to be black. So I'm going to have to paint this what is it here? I think it was the the 338, which is quite a bit of it, I think. And okay, and you know what? I'm wondering if maybe I should sort of peruse ahead here a little bit and just see what have we got to paint in step 17, because really if all I'm going to be doing is painting this one piece, and then I turn the page and find out I got to paint a whole bunch more stuff. Okay, it looks like that tube that we put together in step 14, which is over there. At least I think it is. Just hang on a second here. Yeah, there was two of them. Some sort of air tanks, obviously. And then there's some other stuff we should be painting. Yeah. Hang on a second. Sorry about this. I should have been more organized. Okay, so we got this piece here, and I believe it should also be painted where's my guide here? You know what, we'll check this out. I'm really unorganized here this morning. Let's get ourselves organized. We got no rollback, so I can't say let's roll back. Maybe tomorrow, we'll see what happens. I think tomorrow is actually the rollback day cup, or mug. So I better have a little bit of a rollback so I can, turn it. I like to do that. Yeah, Jeff's cup. Okay. Yeah, let's get at it here. Okay, unless I missed it, I could not find in the painting and marking guide what I'm supposed to paint this. But I would think that, being as that most everything else is the 338, of which I don't have as much of it as I thought I did. I've just got this new one here and what's left in here. And Now this bulkhead here is it was 338, and this stuff here was the 338. Okay. So yeah, we're going to be using a lot of it so that everything sort of matches up. I should really find a safe place to put this. I don't think it's a good idea to be leaving it on the model table in case I knock it over, which is, yeah, what made me think of it is as I went to move it over here, it caught on one of the wires, which is kind of hanging down here. I got wires running all over the place. If I was to redo this, I'd do things differently, but I'm just too lazy to redo it. So anyway, this piece here will have to be 338, but that isn't until step 18. However, I would think that almost everything else, except maybe this, whatever it happens to be, is, well, this could be 338 as well. But I want the other smaller pieces contrasting. I should really find out where does this go, and then if I know what it is, then okay, then it'd be easier to know what color to paint it, even if I didn't get it exactly the way the painting and marking guide says. Oh, you know what? This thing here, that could well be the I guess you call it the desk for the, looks like the radio room. Yeah, that's probably what this is. So it wouldn't be the 338, it'll be something else. But this bulkhead will definitely be 338, so it matches all the rest of them. I think there's going to be about six or eight pieces like this. Okay, yeah, here's another one up here. Yeah, in other words, it would be nice at least to have everything in 17 ready to go. So I don't have to set up the airbrush twice. And of course, we are still in 16 here. Okay, well, for sure we gotta paint over this. This is probably going to take 2 coats. That was a stupid mistake. I'm glad I didn't do all of the overhead bulkheads in the black. Okay. Now my Honda Rebel here that's coming from Bill's Cycle in Steinbach, probably the beginning of May, hopefully the end of April if the weather permits. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, it's going to need a garage, or I'm calling it a bike box, or a bike shelter, and I'm just sort of making it out of plywood here. Now, this piece of plywood, I guess you'd call it, this orange piece right here, that is actually a full sheet of plywood. That's going to be, you might say, the roof, or the top of the box, and it's sloped so that it'll shed rain and snow and what have you. But that's not my problem. My problem was that my tape measure, it is in, I'm used to using it in imperial, like feet and inches and fractions of an inch, and the fractions of an inch are in 16ths, which is quite common. However, when I use the measuring tool here in CorelDRAW, it doesn't give it to me in 16th of an inch. It'll give it to me in tenths or hundredths of an inch. And I was thinking, well, you know, that's going to be kind of inconvenient when I use the measuring tool here in CorelDRAW to see how big a particular item is. Well, it gives it in a tenth of an inch, and it just doesn't work with my tape measure. And then it hit me. My tape measure is also in metric. So what I can do is I can go up here, and I can change it from inches to millimeters. Okay, now when I use the measuring tool to measure something, it will give it to me in millimeters. So I can go ahead and draw it in metric, which I'm used to. I mean in imperial, which I'm used to. And then later convert it to metric, and when I'm down in my workshop cutting these 2x4s to the exact length, it'll be a lot easier. At least that's the plan. This red line right here, that represents the 60-inch wheelbase that this particular bike is supposed to have. And what I did was I I drew a 60-inch line, and then I sized the bike until it just fit from hub to hub, or axle to axle, and that's the wheelbase. Now, if after I get it I find out that it's actually a little longer than that, well then I guess I'll be building a little bulge on the front of it here for the front wheel to go into. But I want it completely dust tight and I guess you might say wasp tight. I don't want to open the door, which is going to be right here. I don't want to open the door and find out I've got a big wasp's nest hanging there, which could happen. Okay, I just thought I'd let you know how things are going. I'm looking forward to getting this bike. I'll tell you, I'm excited about it. And I'm hoping that JR at Build Cycle is going to be able to deliver it to me this spring, and that'll make it even better. But anyway, I don't want to beat that to death. Okay. A fair bit of time has passed here. I've just edited out everything that you've seen up until right now. And when I was editing, I was thinking about saying something to the effect of it was a mistake to have painted this black. But then I thought, you know what? Maybe it wasn't a mistake. And here's the reason why. We're going to be mounting parts. For instance, this piece here gets mounted right in here. It's going to be in a rather dark, secluded area because the outer shell is going to go around it. And if I have this painted the same color as this, then these parts are not going to show up. For instance, this box affair somehow will go in right about there, and the idea is that the torpedo passes in here and in here, something like that. So it's going to go something like this, and I would think we would want these various components that are different from this inner pressure shell, a different color so that they stand out. And I know that in real life that would not be the way it is. However, this is a model. In real life, the submarine is not going to have a clear side that you could see into either. So I mean, it's sort of about being able to see the various components. And I like using contrasting grays and so on. Now I know that this would be the light 338, which is light like this, and but then it calls for some of these parts to also be the 338, like the submarines, for instance. That was the color that submarines. I mean the torpedoes. That was the color that Tamiya actually called for the torpedo to be, and. I want these various components to sort of stand out. So I think I've changed my mind again. I think I'm going to leave this black, and I probably will be painting the other overhead bulkheads that go on the various modules as well, the black. And that way, everything that gets stuck on them is going to be, you're going to be able to see it good. Not only that, but another thing. We are going to be drilling holes for the lights. Okay, I think one goes here, one goes here, one goes here. I think there's 4 of them altogether on this. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they should come out in the appropriate spot underneath here. And then the wires will show up against a light color a lot more than they will against a black color, unless of course the wires happen to be white. So then of course we'd have the opposite effect, wouldn't we? Okay, I'm just going to leave these black. Changed my mind again. How many times haven't I changed my mind in this build? Okay, let's sort of move on here. what else can we do here if we're not going to paint at the moment? We've got this made, but it has to be painted. We've got this made, and it doesn't have to be painted now. But what it does show is that this has to be mounted in it. I'm doing a lot of talking here, and not much getting things done. Oh yeah, here's where it shows it gets dropped down. Yeah, I think probably we could go ahead and drill our holes for the LEDs, and I'll try and find a bit that is the exact size, if possible, as the little LEDs we're going to use. And we're just going to be using the small ones, not the big ones. Not the really, really tiny ones that Martin sent. We'll save those for something else. Anyway, yeah. Okay, let's try and get something done here. Okay, it seems to me I've done this sort of thing before, but I didn't set aside the bit. Now I would think that these are round, but I'm going to measure them two different ways. Okay, are we at 0 here? All right, we are now. Okay, we'll measure it this way. And it's, have I got it in millimeters or in inches? Guess it doesn't really matter. Well, let's see here. Okay, now it's in millimeters. Okay. Yeah, it's almost 3 millimeters. So I'm going to turn it now 90 degrees and measure it the other way. Yeah, it's about the same. Okay, now if I can find a bit that's that size, lock this in place. And I would assume that all of these are going to be about the same size. So if I can find a bit now that is, let's try this one here. Too small. Where did I get it from? Let's jump up a bit here. Okay, we got it out of the 29. 29 is too big. Try the 32. Okay, the 32 would be a loose fit. Maybe if I was to use the 32 and then after I drill the hole, sort of ream out the hole just slightly, if you know what I mean. Let's try that. Now, a moment ago, I saw something move just outside my window, and I looked up just in time to see some snow dropping off my car. And I looked over at my thermometer, and it's reading +5 Celsius right now. So we're having a nice warm spell. You know, it'd really be too bad if the snow melted on my car, wouldn't it? Now, is this the bit that I used here before? It almost seems like maybe it could have been, because I can't find anything. They're either they're a lot bigger or a lot smaller. Well, not a lot, but enough. But I just tried this a minute ago. Oh, this Band-Aid on my thumb. I didn't get my finger too close to the blade, if that's what you're thinking. No, it's sort of cracked here and it was starting to get kind of sore, so I put some kind of salve on it, I guess you'd call it. I don't know if they use the word salve anymore. Anyway, yeah, that's almost a perfect fit. It's almost a pressure fit. Take very little glue. Let's just try it here and see. I'll just make another one. Did I even go through? No. I got a dull one here. You know, this may not be the same bit that you saw me take out. This could be a what do we got here? This could be a 7/64. So I was checking the imperial bits, and this is exactly the same size as the 7/64. And so you know how you can take these bits and you can see it's usually imprinted on the shaft, you know, on the shank, and there was nothing there. And so I think what they've done is when they made this up, they just took bits that were approximately the right size and just stuck them in anywhere. Yeah, I've complained about this before. Okay, let's give this another whirl here. Okay, we're through now for sure. We're getting sawdust coming up here. Okay, let's try this thing here now. No, it's a different size. Well, I wonder where did I get that other bit from? It seems to be slightly larger, or maybe not. Yeah, I can tell by looking at it. If I eyeball it, this hole here seems slightly smaller than the other two. Oh my, we are just getting nowhere today. Okay, I think I may have found it here in my little box of oddball bits, and it's this one here is larger than the hole we just drilled, and it seems to be about the same as these other holes. So we'll give this one a try. A little bit of there's a locking device right here. Kind of works. All right. Let's give her one more try here. I was looking at it though a moment ago and it did not look very sharp. But that's okay. We'll just sort of melt our way through it. Okay, I guess I went through a lot further than I needed to. All right, get our LED here, and okay, I think it was this hole, wasn't it? Yeah, that looks like it can be forced through. Maybe with a little bit of Tamiya extra thin on the hole. Gee, was that the hole or was it the middle one? I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look at the video now to remember which hole it was. Okay, it was this hole. Now where's the LED gone? There it is. Okay. Let's just do a dry run here, you might say. Let's try and soften that hole with some extra thin and see if the LED can be shoved down into it, and then possibly this LED will stick in there just about, you know, it'll protrude through out the other side just right. Maybe I'll come from this side and come out the other way. Then it'll sort of match this one. Okay, I have not done the extra thin thing yet here, but the idea is we want to try and get this to go through there, and we're just going to lubricate that hole a little bit. Alright, let's give it a try here. Maybe I should have waited a little bit longer, but I didn't. Now, can this be shoved through? And that's as far as it's going to go. So that's not going to work, because it won't have come out the other side, I don't think, enough. It's still wet. Maybe it'll go a little further. I think that's about it. Well, let's turn it over and see how much came out. Okay, you know something? Maybe that's going to be just right. I could have possibly have used a little more extra thin and waited just a little bit longer. This is the one we did the other day, maybe as much as a month ago. But I guess the only way to know for sure would be to actually light it up and see how it looks. But first, there's something else I want to do. Okay, so I've had 687 calories today after we eat this. It looks like it's a little bit well done, doesn't it? Okay, that is 28 days now in a row without missing that I have averaged 1,000 calories a day, or probably a little less, because some days I was a tiny bit under. I know there was 1 or 2 days I was a tiny bit over, but then I made good the next day. Yeah, I've stuck to it pretty good. Weight's going down. Weight's going down. Okay, let's clean up here a little bit and put about 3 volts or maybe a little bit less to our LED and see what it looks like from this side. At least that's the plan. Okay, the longest one is supposed to be the positive, so this one will be the negative. And we're going to try very hard not to let these touch. That shouldn't be that hard. Okay. Yeah, we should be able to see that. Now, as well as directing light straight out from it, we also want it to sort of radiate out. We want it to illuminate an area. I think it probably will to a certain extent. Okay, power on. Okay, let's slowly increase our voltage here. Maybe I'll aim it up at you so that you'll be able to see when it starts to glow. Okay, it should be starting pretty soon now. 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 6, there we go. So it starts at about, oh, I see, I'm bumping the course adjustment here. That's why we're having a problem. So let me get it like this. Turn it down, see what we can. Okay, it seems that if we get it up around 2.9 volts, let's see how bright that is. That's actually quite bright. They're supposed to handle 3. You know what? This is going to be just right. You know, if I black that out so that the light doesn't shine, I think probably using a few coats of black paint, but you can see here that's going to illuminate the area quite nicely underneath there. Yeah, maybe we could reduce it down to. Of course, I'm not going to be using this to power the thing. I'll probably be using some sort of a battery adapter and stepping it down maybe with resistors if I have to. Yeah, that's going to be okay. That's going to be okay. Okay, so now we know we've got a bit. I'm just going to leave that bit in the Tamiya electric drill, and yeah, these are working pretty good. Okay, enough. Let's move on. I don't know what we're going to move on to. What time we got here? It's almost 1 o'clock. Yeah, let's just check our manual. See, is there anything else we can do besides paint? Okay, we do not need to check the manual. We have holes to drill. And when I'm handling this piece, I want to be careful that I'm not tucking my fingers around underneath here and breaking stuff off. Okay, another thing I was wondering, should I maybe be drilling pilot holes first with a smaller sharp bit? And because you remember how much pressure it was taking to get this one to go through. It's really hard to get really sharp, a good sharp set of bits. I think some of them are sharp in that red index that I've got, but some of them just are dollar store quality. Yeah, I think maybe I should find a sharp bit and just make pilot holes that might just sort of help this one so it's not going to take so much pressure. I don't want it to all of a sudden plunge through. And is there a way maybe that it can be braced up from the other side? Like this one's going to go right through here, and it's going to come out right around there somewhere. Yeah, you can see where the Trumpeter has made the power line go to one of those holes, so that's probably where it's going to come out. But you know what? It looks like there's supposed to be something else plugged in there. You notice, where's my pointer here? Well, I'll use this. You should be able to see. You see there's a hole right here, and there's a hole right here. Was there something that was supposed to be plugged in there and I missed it? Oh, you know what? I wonder. No, because that torpedo that hangs down, it hooks onto this part right here, and this one right here. Just let me peruse back in the manual here. Okay, so we got a light's going to come out right here. You can see where the line comes up. Okay, light comes there. And there's one going to come out right here. And then there's one going to come right here. And there must be a fourth one somewhere. Maybe. Anyway, we'll find it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, no, we got them all. Yeah, but just let me check the manual. I want to, if there's something that has to be glued in these holes first. Now is the time to do it. Okay, I have paged back to step 3. And that's where we are dealing with this part. So let me zoom in a bit here. Now, this is the last graphic in the manual that shows this part. And I think that this is supposed to show how everything's supposed to look after the parts are all glued in place. And you can see here, these 2 holes are these 2 holes. And these other 2 holes are these 2 holes. There is nothing. It doesn't show anything that has to go in there. So I don't know what those holes are about. Anyway, I just wanted to check and make sure. Okay, let's move on. I am sitting in front of my computer right now doing what we might call the final edit. And once again, the video is much longer than I thought. And it is much later than I thought. It's actually 2:33 in the afternoon here. Yeah, I've got to wind it up here. I was going to take the camera back to the model table and make my closing remarks and say something fancy, but you know, we just completely ran out of time. Now, there is a bit of a sunrise, and I'll try to do something with that. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we're going to see you tomorrow.